Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2026. I am Dave Bryan from SteelersDepot.com, and always with me on these training camp, or really any podcast generally, Alex Kozora, fresh off trip number 2 out to Saint Vincent College in Latrobe. It is Thursday. It is July 30th. It is 5:25 Eastern Time right now, and practice wrapped up several hours ago. Seemed like it moved pretty quick today, but all right, with that, Alex, happy Thursday to you. How was your day?
It was good. Head spinning a little bit less than yesterday now that I have some expectation of what practice is like. So you won't have to catch and get my head on straight
All
this
right.
time, I don't think, Dave. But good to go. Really good day. Thank you to our Tim Rice as well for taking some great photographs out there. He'll be on the field tomorrow, so he'll have the big boy camera out there and can get some really good shots for the site.
All right, look forward to that, and always appreciate the work that Tim Rice does for the site. He's been taking photographs during camp for several seasons now here. And also like to thank our sponsor of the special edition of the Terrible Podcast. That would be Touring Plans and Lynn Testa and his fine folks over there. Alex, tell the folks once again about what Touring Plans does and why they should use it.
Yeah, they're plugged at the top of our training camp diary, but Touring Plans is a great website, and Len Testa, friend of the show, Steelers fan. So Touring Plans uses math and science to help families save time and money at theme parks like Walt Disney World and Disneyland. You'll find on their site and app a crowd calendar showing the best days to visit each park, step-by-step plans to avoid hours waiting in those lines that you can spend half a day in lines. Views from every hotel room and big discounts on theme park tickets. I think Disney might have raised their rates again. Costs are always going up, so the discounts certainly are a big-time winner. So if you're planning a trip to Disney, this is the group you want to work with. Check out the site, touringplans.com. It is linked on the diary at the top of the page of today's recap.
Living in Florida all those years like I lived, we used to affectionately call that the three-finger rat. The house of the three-finger rat.
I see.
Because of Mickey. But you didn't grow up with the Mickey Mouse Club, did you? No.
I'm sure it was around. I don't think
Okay.
that I was ever. I was born in Florida. I was born in Hollywood, so I was only 3 hours away or so from Orlando. Never went though, just because it still was a bit of a drive. But maybe that's a bucket list, and if I ever go, I'll be using Touring Plans.
All right. Mickey Mouse Club was huge back when I was growing up, and it dates all the way back to what, Annette Funicello and all like that and all. But yeah, anything Disney, cruises, theme parks, anything related, go to touringplans.com, and they got a great app as well too. Make sure you get that, so you can definitely save time and money, and you'll want to do that when scheduling a trip there. So thanks to Lynn Testa and the fine folks at touringplans.com. All right, Alex, housekeeping. Once again, it's kind of weird to do because there's no press conferences after camp is over with there. Mike McCarthy speaking in the morning. That seems to be the standard fare moving forward. Really he didn't have much of an update, I don't think, if any, on the PUP guys, but those guys remain the same in Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., and Dante Kent. And so that's status quo there. But I think we talked a little bit about Deshaun Elliott, somewhat limited or very limited yesterday. So give us an update on what you saw Elliott be able to do today, and maybe a little bit of an update on what you saw Dante Kent do.
Yeah, Elliott was back in 11 on 11 for the first team period. He was not in there for the 2-minute drill at the end. So he's basically, almost all the way back, but maybe another step forward for him. We'll see what happens when the pads come on, what his level of participation is during the team period. Even though Pittsburgh's not tackling, the physicality, of course, ramps up in those moments. And Elliott, a pretty physical, hair on fire player himself. The real notable note is on Dante Kent, who remains on PUP as of Thursday evening, but he was actively doing three-quarter sprints and a little bit of cutting and change direction. And for guys coming off of torn ACLs, really the last kind of hurdle to clear is change of direction. You can kind of run in a straight line that you do that first. Whenever you have to break down and change left to right direction, that's the last hurdle to clear. And so Kent was pretty active today on the far field working out and then taking some mental reps in practice as well. So I don't know when he's going to get activated off of active PUP, but I think there's a chance he comes back at some point during camp, Dave.
All right, that's definitely good news. And I guess their first day off would be what, Sunday? So maybe we get news on him on Monday. Maybe that's a way to start next week off, because that too would be the first day in pads as well too. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and wait and see there, and we'll wait for any updates on these other injured guys. Did you see anybody limping around or getting attention throughout practice today?
I did not. There's so much moving and shaking, it could be hard to see those things. And as you said, there's no post injury report from Mike McCarthy. I don't know if he's going to do daily morning updates or what, but not to my knowledge of anybody getting nicked up.
Nobody went up the hill then, right? And the cart, nobody on the cart. That seems to be always good news when you get out of practice without seeing that come across the Twitter machine. All right. Anything else you'd like to add before we get into this? Why don't you walk us through? Was practice pretty much the kind of the same course, the same layout as the first day on Wednesday?
Yes, I would say it was generally the same format and layout, and I imagine it'll probably stay that way until the pads come on. Then maybe they introduce new drills or just different points of emphasis. Now, the final period, the team session, 2-minute drill was a true drive. It was next, first down, second down, third down, instead of kind of the moments it was yesterday of, okay, here's the ball at the 40, and now the ball is suddenly at the 30-yard line. Now there's 4 seconds left. So this was kind of the traditional, you could say, 2-minute drill where the first team offense found the end zone, the second team ended in interception. So that was maybe the one change today, but everything else pretty much status quo.
All right, let's start with the all important quarterback position. All 4 quarterbacks seemed to work again today. Take us through what you saw.
Yeah, there was some good from Will Howard, and there was some bad from Will Howard. He showed touch. He had a really good seam ball. I think it was a 7-on-7 drill to Robert Tunyon. There were a couple of just, solid throws where he showed that touch and placement and downfield accuracy. But the day ended on a sour note in his 2-minute drill. Rogers got first team reps. Howard got second team reps, not Mason Rudolph in this case, and had a couple of good throws to get the drive going, and then just a bad throw over the middle. It was picked off by Sebastian Castro, 3 or 4 defenders in the area, just too tight of a window to fit it in, and not a good decision. And I don't know if Howard, in fact, he did not seem like he wanted to talk about it after practice to reporters, just saying it was an interception and just a learning opportunity there. So that was a sour note for Howard's day.
I think that might have been the one. I think I saw a clip of that one. It looked like he kind of just double hitched maybe, or looked like he really didn't want to throw it maybe at first, and then made a decision to throw it. But those are going to happen, I guess, throughout camp. What about give me an update on Drew Aller?
Yeah, it's so tough, and the one thing that does it's good for the team. It's smart. I think it's a positive change that they're doing these dual 11-on-11 periods, but obviously I can't watch and take notes on both. And so I was watching the near field starters, the backups go to the middle field. And so I wasn't able to really get great detail on it, but just watching in between reps of the first team was Drew Aller throwing a couple of downfield passes to receivers and just some good level, throws, 20, 15 plus yards down the field. And often with these young quarterbacks, they're so nervous about making a mistake, they can turn into check down Charlie, where everything's just short, safe, take a profit. We're not going to test anything at all. Aller really trusting those physical tools and skills that he has to make some higher level throws, and seems to be doing that well. So there's still been some rockiness to his game, not making any broad sweeping conclusions about him just based on what I've seen so far, how new it is, just 2 days of training camp. But you certainly can see the physical tools flash in a guy that's willing to trust his arm.
Has he done much on, we'll call it the main stage, Drew Aller to the main stage? Has he done much on the main field, nearest to you?
I mean, when they go
Or
through
is it all, or is it most of kind of the main work that he gets is on the field farthest away?
Yeah, I would say so. He's not worked a 2-minute drill yet, aside from that sort of Hail Mary kind of moment situation they had briefly yesterday where quarterbacks were rotating in. So his 11 on 11 work has come on that middle field where it is harder for me to observe. I might make it a point to watch those guys maybe tomorrow. It's just you got to pick and choose which one you want to watch at. The coaches can go back and watch the film. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of luxury. So we'll see exactly what my plan is for that, but it mostly has been on that second string stage, so to speak.
All right, tell me about the Drew Aller to DK Metcalf touchdown where I think who was it? Dalen Everett in coverage and kind of had his back turned, I think, to DK, and DK able to come down with that.
Now that was Rogers, right?
I
Throwing
mean
that, or am I getting that wrong? Okay, I'm
Rogers.
just making
I'm
sure I'm
sorry.
getting myself straight on that. Yeah, that was part of the
Who
2-minute
did I
drill.
say? Howard?
You said Aller.
Oh, Aller. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Aller on the
Rogers.
brain. Yeah, it was a really good play, and it was a couple of completions where it was Rogers to Metcalf, one over the middle, another on a curl wherever it slipped, and then the touchdown contested play. I think there was clear, probably PI on that too. I think the refs who were there threw a flag, but Metcalf was able to muscle the football away, and so kind of mossing Everett, and so sort of maybe you're welcome to the NFL type of moment there, where Everett was all over Metcalf, over the top in terms of contact, and Metcalf still making the play to cap the drive off.
Oh, and I think the other one that kind of caught my eye was that deep one down I guess, the left side there. Aaron Rodgers uncorked one. It looked like he threw it about 49 yards and dive-in attempt. Looked like it was looked like Roman maybe should have had that one. I don't know what your view was on that one, but fell incomplete. But Aaron, he put it out there. He still has the
Yeah.
arm strength, obviously.
Oh, yeah. It was there for Roman. He dove, and I thought he had it at first. He just couldn't complete it when he went to the ground. So it's a tough, high-level catch, no question, but one you need to make. And so Rodgers has certainly not been shy about giving Wilson opportunities. 3 targets today, and according to my charting, and another one from Rudolph. So 4 total for Roman Wilson, which is a healthy amount for a receiver over the course of one practice. But there's been some good things from him, but you got to make those tough plays, and still kind of waiting for that moment there with Roman Wilson.
All right. Well, I mean, we're talking about receivers. You just talked about Roman. We talked a little bit about DK. Let's Roman evidently, according to I think it was Jeff Hathorn, usually when the first team out there, Roman's out there, I guess, especially in 3 wide receiver sets, and got a fair amount of work with that group. Take us, A, is that true, and B, take us through kind of down the depth chart there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's mixing and matching to some degree, but if you talk about kind of base 11 personnel, 3 receivers, it's DK Metcalf, it's Michael Pittman Jr., and it's Roman Wilson in the slot. So that's an accurate assessment, one that I've written about in reports and kind of have echoed. So, yeah, a lot of reps there for him. Jeremy Bernard still kind of rotating in, not a lot of action in the team. Peary had a false start today in the 2-minute drill, the play right before the Will Howard interception. So kind of stacking bad on bad there with young guys. The Bernard false start, he gets pulled out. You commit a penalty, you're going to be taken out of the rep, and then Howard throws the interception. So they want to stack that negativity. But yeah, still kind of waiting for him to show up, but it's still early, and so we're not going to freak out about it. Brandon Smith has kind of been working as that third receiver with the second group. So it's Jeremy Bernard, Ben Skoranek, and then Brandon Smith. So you talk about somebody kind of separating themselves from those other back of the depth chart kind of guys. I would probably Brandon Smith out of the gate, and Max Hurlman getting some punt return duty in those lines today. So Hurlman has a good skill set, versatile skill set, return punts at Notre Dame, and so he got a look there today.
Has there been one maybe it's only 2 practices, but what with Jeremy Bernard? Has anything kind of caught your attention? Maybe with him in
No,
a positive way, or any kind of releases or anything like that?
no, I mean, he's big, he's built. We saw a photo of him working out with Roman Wilson in the route guard before training camp began, and so he's certainly a well put together receiver. But I wouldn't say a lot has stuck out. It's not a criticism. It's still just 2 days, and you're still working your way in, and you'll get opportunities as time comes. But nothing in particular to answer your question.
All right, A.T. Perry, what's that's some him and Brandon Smith. We talked a lot kind of leading up to as kind of that back or top end of the kind of the second crew, I guess. Anything on A.T. Perry?
Not a lot. I mean, a couple of looks. Again, he's working in that 11-11 period with the other group, and so I'm not watching what's happening over there. So he could be making a couple plays that I just don't get a chance to see, unfortunately. So I really probably should watch and split up and watch that second team group to learn more about those guys as well. But not a lot there. I think Larry once had a good catch on a corner route today. Caden Weechen got open on a 7 route as well, and 7-on-7. So a couple of moments there, but not a ton to note for you.
All right, how about the tight ends?
Yeah, Pat Frymuth's been getting a ton of targets, certainly a lot more than Darnell Washington so far. Robert Tonyan has also gotten plenty of looks. I think it was Howard that threw that one seam ball to Tonyan that he came down with. This really nice touch throw by Howard. So there was some good and bad to kind of go back to that. And then Riley Nowakowski, not as a tight end, but special teams, playing on the line on punt team, false starting, getting pulled out. So some of those young guys like Bernard Nowakowski with false starts that, you'll learn quickly your punishment for committing a penalty.
All right, J.J. Galbraith, I saw a clip of him going through a blocking drill with Darnell Washington, and Galbraith's not a small guy, really, overall, 6'4", I think, something like that. But it looked like Darnell was having a youth camp guiding him through a drill or something there. Is he running? Is he like the top of that next tier, Galbraith?
Well, it depends where you put Tunyon. I mean, I'd be putting Tunyon probably as like tight end 3 right now. So then it's just kind of clumped up behind with a bit of Nowakowski, that fullback tight end role in McCree and Galbraith. But again, when those guys aren't working a lot in the 2-minute drill and they're working on the other field, it's difficult to note. So I'll have to kind of map out how to evaluate those guys going forward.
And I don't imagine we're going to be talking very long about the running back group, especially in the sense that no tackling and all. But what do you have on the running back rotations?
Yeah, not a ton to note there when they were doing their. I'm not sure exactly how you want to call kind of their concepts period. So 3 players in the pattern against 4 defenders. The 2 running backs that were taking part in that were just Jalen Moore and then Rico Daddle. The rest, Homer, Johnson, Heidenreich, and Nichols, were just on the side catching passes from Ramon Chinyoung Jr., their new running backs coach. And so just kind of showing the dividing line there between the top 2 and everybody else. But yeah, not a ton to note until the pads come on. You got Travis Homer still working first team up back on the punt team. I did confirm Eli Heidenreich, second team up back on the punt team. So those are definitely paths for those guys to stick.
All right, offensive line. Any notable changes in any other rotations that you set forth yesterday?
It was generally the same in their install. It was the exact same, but Dylan Cook picked up some snaps at left tackle today. And there's so much mixing and matching, it's almost unfair to say first team or second team. It was with the ones, but then you had Maxi Honachor at right tackle. And so there's a lot of swapping that can make conclusions of what it means, worth anything. And so just to note that we saw Cook flip from right tackle to a bit of left tackle today. And so I imagine guys will continue to shift spots and flip and flop as they go forward, but Cook getting work at both spots.
All right, nothing for Ionichor on the left side so far in 2 days, correct or no?
Correct, from what I've seen. Now, again, maybe it's happening during that 11-11 period because you have fewer people on the other field, but to my knowledge, and if maybe somebody's tweeted about it, let me know, but I've only seen Ionichor at right tackle.
All right, Broderick Jones talked after practice today. He supposedly is 300 pounds right now, and he talked a lot about the rehab coming off of that neck injury. And, I think you and I, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that for the kind of shortened Friday morning podcast that we're going to do it all. But definitely, he's doing a lot more than what I thought he would do. Is he doing a lot more than what you thought he would do at this time?
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't know if he was going to work in team or not. I figured he was going to avoid active PUP and continue working at the least individually. So the fact he's working in team and really working in normal fashion is, to my knowledge, no restrictions on what he's been able to do or asked to do. So will that change when the pads come on? Will they give him some rest days? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't expect it to be maybe full go out of the gate and from a rep standpoint, participation level standpoint. So that's been great news. And just also some other odds and ends with the coaching staff when it comes to the O-line. Watching James Campen work with just the centers at one point during individual period in practice. Campen, a former center himself. Jari Evans, the assistant O-line coach, is working with the guards and tackles. And then when they came together, just watching them on double teams and combo blocks where the center and guard have to be hip to hip as they're working to the first level to secure the D tackle. When those guys get off the line, Campton will put a little red blocking pad between them, and they have to basically hold it together hip to hip as they get upfield. And it shows if they get too far apart, that pad will obviously fall to the ground. It means they're not close enough. And so just kind of a little teach tool and visual cue of reminding these guys how to stay together and stay on track in that hip to hip relationship as you're working first level to then climbing to the second level.
All right. I would imagine because of the numbers that they have in here and the health of that unit right now that both Ryan McCollum and Greg Crippen are center only right now. Nothing at either of the guard spots for either of those two, right?
Correct. From what I've seen, just center only. We've seen McCormick get a couple of center reps in the warm-up period, but from the center standpoint, it's been pretty much status quo.
All right. I think that covers us on the offensive side of football. Did anything stick out overall? Did the offense have a better day overall today?
Yes, I would say the offense bounced back to a large degree with a couple more downfield plays. So that the touchdown in 2 minutes with the first team offense was positive. So, defense still had some plays, but the offense certainly was more successful.
All right, let's jump over to the defensive side of football and talk about the defensive line. I think right out of the chute, you kind of noticed maybe a little bit different from Benton, and how much is he at maybe defensive end, how much at nose tackle, and is YA Black nose tackle only, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify, how many snaps he's getting where, but we saw him in their first team period today. That first rep, the Pittsburgh was in their base 3-4, and the line was Benton at left defensive end, Joseph Day at right defensive end, and Hayward at nose tackle. And Harmon was there on the sideline. He came in nickel a couple of plays later with YA Black. And so, again, it's hard to know. Are they just giving a look? Is this some sort of like logistical thing of why Harmon isn't in there? I mean, I guess because Harmon's playing left side, and so Joseph Day's getting the right end reps. There's a longer conversation to kind of be had. We're going to have to kind of take some time to see what this all might mean. But the fact that Ben is, of course, getting something at defensive end shows they're open to the idea, and we'll see what it looks like going forward. They talked about it in the spring, so not exactly any sort of breaking, brand new news there. Hayward at nose tackle, I thought was just kind of interesting, and I don't know if that's, again, just a look. I mean, Hayward's talked about he doesn't like playing nose tackle when he had to a couple of years ago when they got super, super thin along the defensive line. So I'm not really sure what to make of it, but just to note what it looks like, that's what happened, and we'll see what it looks like going forward.
Yeah, when we get into preseason too, we'll have it all charted of who, groups playing with who and when they came in a game, and obviously performance was because they don't even have the pads on yet, and that won't even happen until Monday there. Logan Lee, any usage at nose tackle that you've noticed with him? Remember they tried to work him some at nose tackle in the previous camps and all.
Yeah, nothing that I can note, but again, not to sound like a broken record, but without watching the second team or the third string, fourth string, team drill, I just don't have a lot of note on how he's been being used, and so I will make it a point to watch that group tomorrow to have some more information.
All right, let's move to linebacker, specifically inside linebacker. I think you got maybe an interesting note about one in particular.
Yeah, Malik Harrison, just haven't seen much of number 39. Now, I'm sure he's working on that third, fourth string kind of backup team period, because I know that you have Cole Holcomb and Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen working with the ones or the starting group, so to speak. And so I assume the other group is Carson Bruner and Malik Harrison and then Jacoby Whitman. But in the 2-minute drill, not seeing him rotate in. I'm seeing Bruner rotate in. I mean, the first group today was Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson. The second group was Carson Bruner, Cole Holcomb. So just does not feel like Harrison's getting any sort of those, higher end reps. Now, to be fair, in 2-minute drill, they're working sub package. That's not Malik Harrison's game, so still have more to watch here. But you do kind of wonder, could Malik Harrison, to the point that you've made throughout this offseason, could he be at risk of getting the squeeze?
All right, we'll definitely keep an eye on that as we move forward. Anything on the outside linebackers?
No, not much. I didn't see the 3 outside linebacker package today. They didn't use it for their 2-minute drill. I didn't see Watt flip-flop around. He may have for a snap or two, but I don't have any notes on that. But one coach point to kind of give a different perspective, just observing Patrick Graham, he's spending a ton of time with the front seven, the defensive line, and the outside linebackers as opposed to the secondary. Now, maybe that's just the starting point for him. Maybe that's his background or upbringing. He's a linebackers coach through and through. And maybe that's because Pittsburgh has younger, newer, and greener coaches up front than they have in the secondary. You got two vets in the secondary, and Joe Witt Jr. and Jason Simmons up front. You got Dominic Pecco, who's still a young coach overall. He played in the NFL for a long time. You got CJ Ayu for his NFL job. Sean Ho came from the FCS level, so maybe that's why there's a little more guidance there from Graham with that group. But every time I watch him, he's with a front seven guy.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the cornerback position there. Obviously, no Joey Porter Jr., no Dante Kent, Jalen Ramsey, all PUP guys right now. I guess Asante Samuel Jr. stacking. Well, it's only 2 days, but it's nice when you stack both those days. It sounds like he had another good practice on Thursday.
He did. He broke up a pass. It was a kind of a fade ball from Rudolph to Frymuth in a 7-on-7 session, and Samuel high pointed it and batted it away. So he's stacking days, as you said. He's making plays in the football. That's what a good cornerback should do. That's been his game throughout his career when healthy. So it's been really good for him. He's been working that first team left corner spot with Joey Porter Jr. on PUP. I thought Jamel Dean had a couple good plays today as well. Was able to jump one route and bat it away from, I think it was for DK Metcalf was the intended receiver. So those guys have been making some plays.
All right, Brandon Eccles still the primary slot with the guys on PUP.
Yep, still first team slot. And then you mentioned Dalen Everett kind of taking some lumps today against DK Metcalf. So that's my other cornerback note.
All right, who's opposite him? Jameson or no?
It's been a mix and match. Some of Daryl Porter and some of Deshaun Jameson, probably more Daryl Porter today. Everett on that rep. I mean, he came in like Dean was the first team right cornerback to start the 2-minute drill. Then they got about, high red zone. And then Everett came in to replace Dean to kind of work with the one. So it's one of those things where you do have some of that mixing and matching where it's not always a clean look of, okay, you're second string, always working opposite this guy. There is a lot more combinations with this new Mike McCarthy-led practice.
All right. Let's see. How about safeties now? And we already mentioned about Deshaun Elliott getting involved a little bit more. I imagine probably not too far away from him doing more and more as we go on, maybe particularly when we get to Monday and all. What do you have on the safety group? How's Jack Henderson, another one of those guys that's on the other field away from you?
Yeah, I mean, he's worked with some of the 2-minute drills, so I've been able to observe him a little bit. Big guy, he kind of has that linebacker type of build, and wearing number 48 kind of puts you in that mindset of, to me at least, linebacker more so than safety. Robert Spears-Jennings got first team reps in that last 2-minute drill with the ones, and so that was interesting. It's one of those things, again, what do you make of it? Is that just rotating a guy in? Is that a free safety, strong safety thing? I'm not quite sure, but that I thought was at least worth noting. And then it was, of course, really good for Sebastian Castro to get that interception to end practice, as he's the guy fighting for a spot. And looks like if you had to guess out of the gate, Spears-Jennings would probably have the leg up on Castro initially, but plenty of time to sort that out. And Castro making a big play in coverage certainly helps his cause.
Especially special teams is going to come into big play on this, I would imagine, at some point further we get onto this, particularly in the preseason as well, too. All right, good day for Chris Boswell, sounded like.
Perfect day for Chris Boswell in the special teams period. They began with field goals, and Boswell went a perfect 7 of 7, and the refs were there. It's always nice when the refs are there because they can always tell me if it's good or not, because from my angle, it's always tough to judge it. So 7 of 7 with a long of 54. I think that last one, that 54-yarder, the snap was a little bit low. Like Johnson had to kind of get it together a little bit, and Boswell was unbothered by it. So, yeah, Boswell was perfect. Laith Marjan, the rookie kicker, did not attempt any field goals today.
Uh-oh. Okay. He should get some work during the preseason there. Get to see maybe him do some kickoffs or maybe some field goals and extra points. No reason to roll Boswell out there for that. Punter, how's Cameron Johnston's leg looking?
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, he's booming the ball, but there's no rush. It's not really a true environment for him. And so, how much do you really judge it? And he's a veteran that pretty well and can punt well in practice. So maybe a couple more touchbacks today. Wasn't kind of pinning them deep the way that he was the first day, but nothing real crazy to report there. And then who was it? The second team? Let me get here. Second team kind of lines in the punt team, because that's kind of my jam. We got Travis Homer, first team up back, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb were the wings, Nowakowski on the line today after playing wing yesterday. And then second team was Eli Heidenreich as the up back, Sebastian Castro at left wing, and Caleb Johnson at right wing. So running back trying to, of course, add to his value. He's going to have to play on special teams. Getting a look at right wing on the line for second team was Team Bell, Robert Tunyon, Kuntz the long snapper, obviously Malik Harrison, and J.J. Galbraith.
Okay. And that was second team, you said, on the line?
Yeah, that was second
Okay.
team blocking on the punt team line.
All right. Wow, we rolled through it here. Who won today? Offense or defense, or was it kind of a wash?
It's pretty even. I couldn't tell you top of my head. It wasn't as obvious as yesterday, where clearly the defense won. I mean, the offense scored in 2 minutes with the ones. The defense picked off the pass with the two. So you can probably call it a pretty even wash. If I had to choose, I might go defense over offense, but it's pretty close.
All right, so the tempo about the same. Boy, practice seemed like it went so quick, and it was even 10-minute longer, 15-minute longer practice today. It just seemed to fly by. But same kind of tempo as happened on Wednesday.
Yeah, I would say so. It felt slower just because I had a little more know-how of what to expect this time around, so it just slows down from my perspective. But in terms of the pace of practice and the operation of practice, yeah, it was still pretty go, go, go.
All right, the game is slowing down for you. All right, that's always good. Further we get into training camp here. All right, anything else you'd like to add? Tidbits, news, notes on
Let's
top of it
see.
here.
Let me look at my notes. Andy White was on the field today. After every practice, Mike McCarthy, Omar Khan, Art Rooney II, and Daniel Martin Rooney all to get together and talk about practice. So that's just one kind of routine, which Mike Tomlin would do with those guys. Not with Martin Rooney. He's new, and that kind of speaks to the air that he eventually will take over Art Rooney II's place in the organization as the president. But that's, I think, all I got to just also want to say, just clean snaps. And it's something you take for granted.
Okay,
It's
good.
like breathing air until you have a bad one. Zach Frazier had some yips a year ago. It's been clean for him. It's been clean for all the centers operationally. His false starts today by Nowakowski, Bernard. You want to avoid that. But overall, I think it's been pretty clean.
All right, good deal. All right, we will get back after it tomorrow, being Friday, another practice, and then they got one after that on Saturday, and then they break on Sunday. You and I'll be back on Friday night, Friday afternoon, late afternoon, I guess, to do another one of these special edition podcasts. And you and I, and probably a little bit here, are probably going to try to do something for a Friday morning podcast, and just try not to hit on the same stuff that we hit on during the special edition podcast. We'll talk a little bit, I think, about Broderick Jones, what he had to say, maybe some things about McCarthy and what some of the players said and all like that. But in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we do and you want to donate, SteelersDepot.com, hit the donate button. Also, if you like an ad-free version, SteelersDepot.com, hit the ad-free button and follow the directions that way. So, until Friday, as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2026 with Dave and Alex.